We've had a lot of great speakers, and I hope you found a lot of education and a lot of inspiration. I now want to introduce our last speaker for the day, for the Founders Day show, as my good friend and brother Michael Little.
All right. Is this thing on? Everybody hear me? Good deal. Most worshipful Grand Master, white worshipful officers, brethren, and distinguished guests, it's an honor to stand before you today at Indiana's Founders Day. This opportunity to share my story and the profound impact Freemason has had on me and my life is deeply meaningful. Although I am not an Indiana Mason, this state holds a special place in my heart. See, I was born and raised just south of here in Evansville, and I am a proud life member of Hadi Shrine. Ironically, that's where my first touch with Masonry started. You see, if you've ever heard of something down there, it happens around Thanksgiving time. They have the Hadi Shrine Circus, and it's epic, and it's legendary, and I don't think it'll ever go away. But I remember that. I remember that because I had a vice principal, right? And he was someone who I really looked up to in elementary school, and I remember thinking, this is the weirdest guy I've ever met in my life. He would come to school right before the Thanksgiving break, and I was like, how weird is this person? And I idolized that man and many other men that were like him, but I never knew his story. I just knew he was a funny guy who wore a clown outfit to school, and he was part of the circus, and man, that was neat, and they wore funny hats. But that was my first touch of Masonry. I'm also a member of the Nowruz Grotto down in Evansville. Tonight I'm looking forward to being here in Indiana because I get to attend their 100th anniversary and swearing in their officers tonight. And it's gonna be a fun time. But Evansville is just where my story begins. It's actually the lessons that I've learned in Masonry that are the most important because they're the ones that guide me every day. Freemasonry and the military share a unique bond. See, I'm also retired from the United States Navy. I served my country, very, very proud of that. Thank you. It was men like Coach John Leidy down at Castle High School that led me to want to serve. And what I didn't realize was that was going to lead me into a life that I never expected. And unfortunately, at some point, that life came to an end. And in my journey in the Navy, it actually came to an end twice. The first time it ended whenever I left active duty. And I came home and I was joining the reserves and I was in college. And it was impactful to me because I was trying to find a sense of purpose, right? What I didn't realize is that there was an organization out there that shared the same values and the unique bond as my time in the service. A bond that emphasizes duty, honor, and brotherhood, right? Values that resonate deeply with anyone who has ever served in the military. So I want to share with you how Freemasonry not only became my cornerstone during one of the most challenging times of my life, but how I believe it can serve as a beacon for others, especially for veterans. Pretty much my whole speech is about veterans, so sorry about that. I came home 2006 from active duty, and I struggled. I was missing that camaraderie that I had with my shipmates. I had served on the USS Tarawa, USS Reagan, and I was just trying to figure my life out. I was in college. I joined the reserves, but it was so far away I didn't even see them except for one weekend a month. And then all of a sudden, like, my grandma got sick and she was dying, and my grandfather passed away, and I was depressed. And it was the first time in my life I ever felt depression. And I think back to the fact that it was my military time that meant the most to me at that point, right? And I think to one day in particular, whenever I was in the flight deck control of the USS Ronald Reagan, and my commander was there, and he had this ring similar to what I'm wearing today, or many of you are wearing. And I asked him, I said, "Sir, what is that symbol?" you didn't go to the Naval Academy. I know you're enlisted prior to becoming an officer. So what is this symbol? I've seen it my whole life. And he said, you figure out how to ask that question, and I'll give you all that you need to know. Well, I thought that was kind of a short answer, and I thought about it, and I tried to think of other ways to ask him. And I would ask him many times over the course of the next year, and I never got that answer of what that symbol meant. I'd often drive past that symbol, though. I would see it on buildings in my hometown, and it was this mysterious square and compass that would always stick out to me. It was always dark, though. The building was always dark. There were never lights on. It was never open. So that was intriguing me because I just figured, hey, this is either like a union building or maybe it's just a business that went out of business. I don't know, but there's no lights on there. The symbol wasn't familiar to me. It wasn't unfamiliar to me, right? But I knew that something was important about it because so many people that I'd served with had that on those rings. Again, I would drive around cities just like the brother here from Ohio, and I would see that. I got to the point in my life where I was ready to throw it all away. I was sitting in a grocery store parking lot one afternoon. I was waiting for a girlfriend to get off of work, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And all of a sudden, this, like the brightest light you've ever saw in your life hits me. You would have thought a billboard just came driving past me, and a gentleman pulled his car right in front of where my truck was parked, and he had the smallest little bumper sticker on there, and it said, "To be one, ask one." And out of not even thinking, I just jumped out of my truck, and I almost assaulted the guy. I go, "Excuse me, sir, does that mean what it says?" And he looked at me, and he probably thought I was crazy, right? Like I just jumped out of my truck. "Excuse me, sir, does that mean what it says?" And he was a little startled, right? And he, "Excuse me?" And I said, "I apologize, sir. I'm sorry. This bumper sticker says to be one, ask one. Does it mean what it says?" And he stopped and he talked to me, and he said, "Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It means exactly what it says." And we sat there and we talked for about 30 minutes. And what he didn't realize was that I was probably just a day or two away from wanting to take my own life. And here he is giving me this information about this fraternal organization. And I knew that it had to have meant something because so many men that I looked up to in the military, they had that same compass and square on their rings. And I knew that if I couldn't find the United States Navy in McLeansboro, Illinois, maybe this is the next best thing. That gentleman told me he needed to go in, get groceries. His name was Worshipful Brother Carol Newman. I'll never forget him. Told me if I waited 30 minutes till he got out with his groceries, that he would be more than happy to take me to his house and get me a petition. And he did. And I joined the lodge and really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, 3 months later, the President of the United States decided to recall me, send me to war. I went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, got a brain injury from my last tour, and ended my career a little bit early, but had a little bit of struggle whenever I got back with that brain injury. See, the principles that I had learned in Freemasonry became my guideposts. The working tools, the 24-inch gauge, the trowel, the plumb, they were no longer just symbols. They were a lifeline that I didn't realize that I know I needed. So it was about 6 years after I got injured that I knew that I needed those tools again, but I didn't really know I needed them. You see, no one really taught me how to do it. The gentleman earlier talked about needing a mentor, right? I didn't have one of those. See, Carol, he was a good guy, and he really wanted to help me in my Masonic journey, but unfortunately, Carol wasn't around whenever I got back from the Navy that time. There were other men that were there. There were elder men. There were nice men. There were awesome men. They were great, and I really appreciated them. However, it was my brother that I didn't even know whenever I joined the Masons that ended up being the guy who saved my life. See, his name was Worshipful Brother Sam Wilson. Sam saw something in me that I couldn't see myself at the time. He noticed the patterns that I was exhibiting with my behavior was pretty self-destructive. On Masonic Lodge nights, though, he saw that I had a different way about me. See, I had structure on those nights. I had purpose. My day would follow a healthy pattern. See, I would wake up, I would go to school, I would go to work, I would do my homework, I would attend Lodge, and then I would go home. I would reflect on the things that I learned at Lodge and the things that we talked about and my brothers. And on those nights, I felt fulfilled. I didn't need to drink. I didn't need to feel the darkness because I was alone and everything was creeping in on me, and I didn't have to think about any of that. But on nights I didn't have lodge, my routine was destructive. I'd wake up, I'd go to school, I'd go to work, I'd do my homework, I'd go to the bar, I would drink until I blacked out. I'd probably try to drive home. I didn't care. I didn't want to live. See, I'd lost 15 of my shipmates to suicide. 15 guys I served with in Iraq and Afghanistan, they were all taking their lives during this time. So I decided I was going to do the same thing. In fact, I drove to the American Legion, I drank a bottle of whiskey, I talked to my American Legion commander, and I told him I'd see him when we both got to hell. See, he was a Vietnam veteran, and that was something that we would usually say to each other, except for not on Saturday nights, because Saturday nights we would usually say goodbye by saying, I'll see you whenever we get to the fire meeting on Monday. Nope, not that night. I told him the different thing. And when he walked out to my car, I had that gun and it was pulled up to my head. And he took that gun from me and he pushed me up against my car and he saved my life that night. He helped me get the help that I needed. He helped me get the words that I needed to ask for the help that I was looking for. And that got me started on a path. But you see, it wasn't just him. See, it was Brother Sam Wilson, right? Sam decided that I had something inside of me that he saw that I didn't see. So Sam, being the brother he is, he hired me. He gave me a job. He looked out for me, right? He was my brother, but he found a way that he was going to look out for me. And I will never forget that, right? He gave me that job, not because he believed in me, but because he wanted to keep an eye on me. He wanted to make sure I didn't fall back into the destructive cycle that was consuming my life. Sam embodies the same qualities that make great military leaders. He never served a day in his life, but he was my brother. He was my brother in the Masons. This is why I firmly believe Freemasonry can be a catalyst for helping veterans who are struggling with mental health issues. The values we learn in the craft, duty, service, brotherhood, are the same values that guide us in the military. And just like in the military, Freemasonry provides a support system, a purpose, a sense of belonging. Freemasonry has the potential to bridge the gap. The craft offers veterans the same camaraderie and structure they experience in the military, but also provides something more. A diverse brotherhood of men from all walks of life, united in the pursuit of self-improvement and service to others. But how can we as Freemasons do our part to help these veterans and find their way to the light? It's simpler than you think, right? Here are 3 easy steps that you can all take to make a difference. It's funny because I didn't actually know about your video you made, right? Randy sends me this video, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, that's exactly how I joined Masonry. He got a truck with the license plate on it, and I would see that symbol, and I'd think to ask him, right? So if you drive a vehicle and you have a standard Indiana plate, you're wrong. You're missing an opportunity to share your light with others. By switching to a Masonic plate, not only are you making Freemasonry more visible in your community, but you're also ensuring that part of the money that you're giving to the state of Indiana now goes to the lodge. See, that's easy. But I don't have Freemasonry plates on my car, so I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. So that's fine. I have veteran plates on my car. I do want my money to go to the Illinois veteran funds that they have there. However, I have other things on the back of my car, right? You have the decals, you have the to be one, ask one. I make sure that I have those things on my car. That way people know that they can approach me and they can talk to me about that. It's important. We talked about visions, right? The brother over here from Ohio, he talked about, no one knows what F and AM is. No one knows what AF and AM is, but they do know what Masonry is oftentimes. And then whenever they see a brother that's attached to it, they want to know more about it. I know they're intrigued by it. See, I try to join over 32 different military and civilian organizations. I'm an odd fellow. I joined the military over Purple Heart. I was a part of the American Legion, the VFW, and all. I could keep going, right? But they gave me things, and it was important, but nothing gave me what the Masons have gave me. Because we're all from different walks of life. We're all part of something here. But we teach camaraderie and brotherhood. Those other organizations, they kind of do, but this organization gives me what I need that I missed whenever I was in the Navy.
And I still get it today, and I love it. And whenever I'm with my brothers and I'm here today, I get to go back and I'm with my fellow veterans and I'm with my fellow shipmates and I'm able to be re-energized and I'm with them and I'm a different person because of Masonry. And I'm very proud of that. Now, all I ask is that if you don't have a license plate, put one of those bumper stickers on the back of your car. You can definitely make a difference in someone's life. The other thing that you could do, break the tradition. How many of us have a story like mine where a family or friend were in the lodge, but they waited for us to ask them to join? The tradition of waiting of the question has been part of Freemasonry for a long time. But I think it's time we rethink that. We have to re-engage, specifically with our veterans. We know veterans aren't going to just come out of the woodwork and ask for help. They're not going to do it. That's why 18 to 22 veterans commit suicide a day. They don't want to ask for help. Or it's their call for help because they want to help other veterans by showing there's a broken process. So break the tradition. If you know veterans, if you know Boy Scouts, if you know people that are of good nature in our community, talk to them. Share your story. You don't have to just go up and say, hey, would you want to join the lodge? Talk to them about your experiences. Share your story. How many of you here have a story like mine? I know I'm not the only person that has a story where I'm sitting in lodge and then all of a sudden it just hits me. Everybody has that story. Share it. Share that story. You would share your story about being in church. You would share your story about being, certain doctors did a great job in a surgery. Share your story about the lodge. Don't be afraid to share your stories because you never know when that story might impact someone and it might be there. Be visible and be approachable. While we're a brotherhood of secrets, we shouldn't be an organization that's purposely kept secret. Veterans won't knock on our doors if they don't know we exist or they don't think they belong. We have to make sure our lodges are visible in our communities. And we, as individual Masons, need to be approachable. This isn't just about wearing a ring or putting a decal on your car. It's about activity, engaging with people, being on social media, attend community events, volunteer alongside other veteran organizations. Get your lodge involved with the American Legions and the VFWs out there. They're made up of members that would probably want to be a part of your lodge and that would actually benefit both of you. Show the world that Freemasonry is a living, breathing force for good in the world, just like we all know it is. When we do that, we don't just grow the craft, we give veterans and other people a chance to find the light that they've been searching for. That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. We're all searching for more light, just like this light that's shining on me. We're looking for that light. We need that in our lives, and so do other men. These 3 steps, sharing your light, breaking the tradition, and being visible, may seem simple, but they can have a profound impact. Here's some statistics. I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it for you guys. Here in Indiana alone, there are more than 380,000 male veterans. Nationwide, there are more than 1.9 million male service members serving on active duty, the reserves, and the National Guard, and there are 16.7 million male veterans. Many of these men are quietly searching for the same sense of belonging, purpose, and camaraderie that we have all found in Masonry. By taking these steps, we can help them see that they don't have to walk alone. Help me stop my friends from committing suicide by helping them know that there are things out there that aren't in the same walks of life as the American Legion, the VFWs, and I'm very proud to be a member of all of them, and I hope that nobody's taking that as me having a dig on them. It's just, what do? They teach the same thing as the military, and it's the same in and out and the day to day, and they don't, it's about the brotherhood and it's all that, but it's just the same thing, and you don't get exposed to the different walks of life. Everybody's a veteran that's there. Everybody's the same, and there's nothing different. I used to avoid talking to civilians. I hated it. I absolutely despised it. Except I realized that it was just because I didn't understand them. They didn't understand me. I didn't understand them. But Masonry helped change that for me. Masonry helped change that for me because it allowed me to be exposed to people that weren't just veterans. It helped me be exposed to people that were above my community. And we had this commonality in each other, right? They may not have served in combat like I did. However, they did serve their community in many different ways. And I didn't think that they were approachable to me. I didn't think I was allowed to talk to some of them, but they were. And I love many of them today. They are my brothers, and I am so proud to be a part of them. Together, we can change lives by growing this craft, ensuring that Freemasonry remains light in the darkness for our generations to come. Freemasonry isn't just about improving ourselves. It's about creating a legacy that lasts for generations. There are many generations that have walked in these lives. And if you're a military member and you're a veteran, we heard about the gentleman this morning talked about George Washington. Our country was founded upon Masonry. You don't have to look far to see that. George Washington actually built his entire officer's wardroom around Masons. If you were a general and you wanted to be a part of the war, you had to be a Mason. He didn't want people that were a part of his inner circle that weren't. And so you look at how the rest of our country was built. You look at the Constitution, the Declaration, all Masons. All military men, all Masons. All statesmen, all Masons. We have a lot in common when we looked at that, right? And I think that we hold more of an answer on helping the veteran population than we realize. Our ranks are full of them. If I turn the lights on, in fact, I'd like to. Can I see how many veterans are here today? How many veterans are in the room? Please stand up. Please stand up, and thank you very much for your service. And if you're a Vietnam veteran, welcome home, right? See, our ranks are full of them. Our ranks are full of them. Many of them don't even want to. Many of them don't talk about it. They don't. It's okay, but they're here, and we can offer the same thing to those that are not. We just have to do a better job of talking about it. Brothers, Freemasonry saved my life. It gave me the tools to rebuild, the brothers to support me, and the purpose to serve others. Let's share the light with the world. Thank you, Most Worshipful Grand Master, Right Worshipful Officers, and Brethren, for allowing me to share my journey with you today, and it's been an honor. I absolutely appreciate being here, and I look forward to joining you again in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brethren, you might as well remain standing. That concludes the Founders Day show for 2025. We hope you've had fun. We hope you've been inspired by this great fraternity filled with brotherly love. I want to thank Brother Jim and Brother Mike for traveling great distances for being here. Thank all of you that watched on the live stream at home. And with that, thank you very much. Grandmaster, do you have anything you'd like to say?
And also, I would like to say thank you to our special speakers. It has been awe-inspiring from hearing from both of you. Thank you so much for coming to Indiana Freemasonry. Also, I would like to say thank you to our Deputy Grand Master and Right Worshipful John Bridegroom, who couldn't be with us. This program was their brainchild. Excellent job. Thank you. So in conclusion, before we have the benediction here by our Grand Chaplain, brothers, just remember in the entered apprentice degree, we were first asked, friend, is this of your own free will and accord? Somewhere there you were asked, in whom do you put your trust? And a little bit later, the question was asked, what do you most desire? Brothers, go forth from this place. Be the light. Brother Chaplain.
Brethren, if you will, be in the mind of prayer. Heavenly Father, Supreme Architect of the universe, we come to you again at this time with bowed heads in reverence to thy holy name. We again give you all the glory and all the praise, and thank you for the manifold blessings and comforts that you bestow upon us. Today we'd like to ask that you would be with those that are at home that couldn't be with us today. Those that are ill, we ask that you place your healing hands upon them. Those that are struggling with mental disabilities, we ask that you bring them peace. Lord, we ask that you bless the food that we are about to partake for the nourishment of our bodies. And as always, our bodies unto thy service. All this we beg in the honor of thy holy name, to whom be the glory now and forevermore. Amen.
Make your way downstairs for lunch. For those of you that have a lunch ticket, don't forget about the presentation across the street, and Dave has some extra tickets down here, so come and see you.